Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are sharing with you our tour at Normandy or Le Havre when we were on board the Holland America Zuiderdam.
Yeah, this was one of my favorite tours of all time, a cruise tour. I think probably my favorite. It was so amazing, and so let's give you a little particulars about it. We did this with Holland America, and it was not a cheap tour. It was a little over $200 per person, but well worth the cost. I do want to warn you, if you're thinking about this tour, we got the last two spots, and we booked this tour 3-4 months ahead of the cruise. So this is a highly popular tour. If you're thinking about doing it, book your spots on this as soon as you make your cruise reservations.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, actually almost all of the excursions on Holland America book out pretty early. If you haven't seen our other videos on our Holland America transatlantic cruise, make sure you check those out. But definitely our top tip for Holland America cruises is book early if you want to do an excursion through the ship. And one of the reasons too why we did that, other than the fact that we've wanted to go here for a long time, is that this is 2.5 hours away from the port. And we always tell people, if you're doing an excursion that's that far away, you really want to make sure that you're guaranteed to get back to the ship, or that they're going to wait for you, because it's going to be a problem if you get there late. And actually we had a little trouble at the end coming back to the ship. We'll talk about that later, which is why it's important that you make sure and you book your excursion when you're going to be this far away from the ship, through the ship.
Yeah, we loved being on, it was a big bus tour. Our tour guide was amazing. He told us all kinds of history and insights into the Normandy area and just the World War II operation there. So it was totally amazing. Started out with a trip to the Overlord Museum, which was a great little museum.
Yeah, it really was fantastic. They have it set up so you're kind of walking through the process of how the mission took place, or just so you kind of inserted into it. So it was really fascinating to walk through there, and just as an American, because it is an American museum, and just to kind of walk through the whole process. It was fascinating. We actually learned so much on top of what we already knew about that mission.
Yeah, and I love being able to get up real close to the tanks that were being used at that time. Really some great things to see there. So we made it to the museum here in Normandy, and it's a beautiful day. They've got so many amazing tanks. Saw the Sherman tank, one here behind us. And it was really interesting because we did take the cruise from Torbay over across the English Channel to France last night, and I couldn't help but think it was the same path that the soldiers took in the night, and it was a much easier ride for us. But
yeah,
we're kind of doing the same thing they did. Just
yeah, that, and they said the weather was awful on that day as well. So we actually have, even though it's cool and a bit windy, we do have better weather.
Yeah, very impressive museum here, though.
Yes.
Then you've got the highlight of the day, which is actually going to Omaha Beach. That just kind of blew us away. We've seen a lot of movies and documentaries on this, but actually standing there, seeing how wide and how big that beach is, how big the hill is that you would have had to go up to get to the top of that, just stunning to see that in person.
Yeah, it really was actually overwhelming to think how, and especially once you get up to the top, to the cemetery, looking down, I can't even imagine what that was like, because it is a long ways when you land on that beach, come out of the water. That hill, I don't even know why they call it a hill. It's practically a mountain. I mean, it is so steep and so, it's sandy. There's so many things to overcome, and there's nowhere to hide.
No.
You're just literally, they were sitting ducks. So it was really kind of overwhelming to just take in that whole area and that whole space.
Yeah, so we got to spend quite a bit of time there, got to walk through the cemetery grounds, which were beautiful. There was just so much to see there. Love that time.
All right, so we've made our way over to the American Cemetery here in Normandy, and it's right up the hill from Omaha Beach. So we're gonna take a look here. They said there's about 10,000 American soldiers buried, right?
Yeah.
And then we'll take a look also at what it looked like from up here when the soldiers landed on the beach. And then we'll also head down to the beach in just a few minutes to look up and see what it looks like from down there. But let's take a tour here of the cemetery.
And then we got to go to a little port city and get some lunch. So that was a great experience.
Yes, and I'm probably going to say this wrong, but it's Havre is the town that we went to, and that's actually where the mulberry ports are. So that was actually really interesting also to see those, because you can see kind of the remnants of them out on the water. So it was actually insanely windy the day that we were there. I mean, even our food, like you said, we had lunch there. We were like hanging. You have to like hang on to your food and your drink because the wind was just going crazy. I don't know if that's normal there or not, but it was really fascinating. Again, they have so many remnants there in the beach, on the area. All around there, so it was really quite interesting to kind of take all that in. And then there's also a little museum there as well that you could walk into and just read up a little bit more about it.
Yeah, the mulberry ports were cool because it is the ports they designed to be. They built these ports right there by the beach so that they could transport their equipment and supplies, and that's what actually helped secure this whole area. So that was really nice. Of the British mulberry all around in the water here. There's still quite a bit of it remaining in the water. These were the breakwaters that they put in the ocean to create a harbor here. There were two of them made, one by the Americans, one by the British. This is the only part of it that is still remaining though. We then got to spend some time talking to our tour guide, and that was really cool for us because our family is from Normandy. That's something that we've always known, that's where our family line came from. And so that's one of the reasons we always wanted to visit, but we didn't quite know how much. We found out from our tour guide. We told him what our name was, and he said there was a farm by that name, and that is the farm that the soldiers used as a meeting point during the operation. So we went back and watched like old movies like The Band of Brothers, and that is actually the farm of our family from hundreds of years ago. And so that was pretty cool to see and to find out.
It's really quite wild. The guide himself was really excited because as soon as we told him our last name, he was like, oh, wait a minute. And then he started telling us the whole story. We were like, wait, what? This is so cool. So then we started looking stuff up and he started looking stuff up and we kept chatting all the way back to the ship. But that was really quite fascinating, something completely unexpected for us, especially as, somebody, Rob's family, we should say. It's both our last names, but your family is rooted in that area. And we've always known that, which is why, like you said, it's a place that you've always wanted to visit. And it was such a great experience and such a great tour, don't you think?
Yeah, it was amazing. And just we found out so much, got to see so much. It connected so many of the dots for us from World War II that we just kind of knew a little bit about, but now we have a much fuller understanding of that situation. So I have to say it was probably the best tour I've been on, and definitely would go on it again and recommend it to anybody that's thinking about going on that.
Yeah, definitely. And what we mentioned earlier was that we were on the bus on the way back to the ship. We could actually see it in the distance just a little bit, and the train gates came down like a train is coming by, except that we sat there for a good 15 minutes and nothing was happening. And so people were just getting tired of waiting for the gate. And so it went up on the other side of the road, but it was still down on our side of the road, even though no train had gone by. And everyone is just sitting there, and the bus driver and the tour guide were like, we've had enough. We're just sitting here and there's no train. So literally all the people in the cars like around us and stuff, they all got out, and between all of them, these are all the French people, between all of them, they pushed the gate up. And then there was like a ton of traffic, so they ended up telling, and we were just getting back like just in time. There was, I think, one more tour behind us, and we were all getting in like right on time, but they were communicating with the ship and saying, hey, we're stuck here. And so that's why we're saying it's important when you're going to be on these excursions that are 2.5 more whatever time away from the ship. You want to make sure that you're using the ship's excursions for those. Like, there's a time and a place for a DIY excursion, and we encourage those all the time, but in this instance we were really happy that we did a ship excursion, right?
We were, yeah, and it was just a great excursion. Love to hear what you thought about it. If you've been on this excursion, let us know in the comments. Otherwise, one of our best.
Yeah, definitely. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you're thinking about going, definitely make sure that you book early if you're going on Holland America. And guys, again, as Rob said, questions, leave those down below in the comments, and we'll see you next time.